This is what happens if chosen ones stop having sex. No one talks about what really happens when a chosen one stops having sex. Not the awkward silence. Not the sudden clarity. Not the flood of energy that comes rushing back like it had been held hostage. They don't tell you how everything shifts almost overnight. Your dreams hit different. Your intuition sharpens. Your peace becomes louder than your cravings. At first, people think you're just abstaining, that you're being good or waiting. But what they don't see is that this has nothing to do with waiting, and everything to do with waking up. Because when a chosen one stops having sex, not from fear, not from guilt, but from alignment, a power that's been buried under years of soul ties, confusion, and compromise begins to rise. You feel it, don't you? The fire, the focus, the you that was always underneath it all. This isn't celibacy. This is reclamation. And once you stop giving your body to what's not built to hold your calling, you stop bleeding and you start building. And this is what really happens. It doesn't feel dramatic when it starts. No thunder. No declarations. Just a moment quiet, private, where something feels off. The touch that used to comfort you now feels intrusive. The connection that once made you feel seen now leaves you invisible when it's over. It's not because they were bad people. It's because your soul started realizing it was being spent on what couldn't sustain it. There's a difference between being wanted and being understood, between feeling desired and feeling safe. And your spirit, ancient, intuitive, sacred, knows that difference. But the body kept moving, kept responding, kept performing connection in places where your purpose didn't belong. And every time something in you faded a little more, not all it, just enough to notice, the laughter didn't hit the same. The afterglow didn't last. And the silence afterward got louder. You didn't need someone to tell you to stop. You just needed space to hear what your own soul was already whispering. This isn't how you were meant to be touched. No one noticed when you stopped. There was no announcement, no vow, no deadline. You didn't post about it. You didn't swear it off forever. You just stopped saying yes to what your spirit kept saying no to. At first, it felt strange, like leaving a room you've always sat in, even though it never quite fit. You had outgrown the performance, outgrown the pretending, outgrown the cycle of giving yourself away, hoping someone might finally see what was always hidden underneath. But this time, you didn't leave bitter. You left awake. Something deep within you had shifted. A rebellion, not against pleasure, but against the price you kept paying for it. And in that stillness, things began to return. Pieces of you didn't even realize were missing. Energy you thought was gone for good. Clarity that had been buried under the noise of desire and the weight of false connection. You stopped trying to explain your silence. You stopped needing to prove your worth through your body. Because, without even realizing it, you had chosen yourself. It doesn't come with fireworks. It arrives soft, like light pouring into a room that's been dark for so long your eyes forgot what clarity even looked like. You start seeing things as they are, not as you hoped they would be. The people, the patterns, the places where you used to lose yourself just to feel found. Now it's all clear. Not because you're cold, but because you've stopped trying to get warmth from fires that only burn your boundaries. You start hearing things you missed before, not in others, but in yourself. That inner voice, no longer drowned out by craving or confusion, starts speaking again. And when it does, it speaks with precision. That's not love. That's not alignment. That's not for you. And you listen because now you can. You're not moving from impulse. You're not reacting to loneliness. You're standing in a stillness that feels like truth. And somehow, without effort, You begin attracting peace instead of chaos. Patterns break. Cycles close. And every time you choose yourself again, the fog clears a little more. This is what happens when the body rests and the soul finally breathes. Now you can feel it. The shift inside you wasn't just about clarity. It was about the energy you've been holding, guarding, realigning. You walk into rooms and don't need to announce your presence. It speaks for you. The confidence you've been seeking isn't loud. It's calm. It's certain. People feel it. They feel you before you say a word. Not because you're demanding attention, but because your energy doesn't need to be validated anymore. Your boundaries are felt, not explained. Your needs are understood without you having to voice them. Your presence becomes a safe haven for those who recognize the peace you've chosen, and you realize something powerful: you no longer have to search for connection. You don't chase intimacy. You don't perform for attention. Because now, your energy speaks for you, and it attracts only what is meant to be. No more settling. No more compromising. You know the difference between true connection and a fleeting moment, and you can see it in others before it even reaches your heart. This energy, it's sacred. It's language. And it's not spoken through words, but through everything you've reclaimed. Now that your energy is yours again, something else begins to shift. The past doesn't have the same hold over you. You start noticing things you once ignored. People, places, relationships that once felt familiar, but now seem like strangers in your own life. It's the soul ties the invisible threads that connected you to others, threads that once felt like love, but over time became attachments. And as your energy realigns, those ties, those bonds, begin to unravel. You realize that every piece of yourself you gave away was attached to someone or something that never truly knew you. And while those ties might have brought comfort, they also brought compromise. You were never meant to carry all of it. And as you let go slowly but surely, each soul tie fades. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with release. You forgive, yes, but more than that, you release. You stop holding on to what was never meant to stay. And in this freedom, you find peace. Because what's truly meant for you can't leave. What's meant for you won't cost you your identity. It will only deepen it. And in the silence, you begin to remember the you that existed before the distractions, before the noise. Before you gave pieces of yourself to everyone who asked for a part of you. You stand taller now. Not because you're trying to be seen, but because you finally see yourself the version of you that was always there, buried beneath this compromise to that compromise. This version doesn't need to perform for love, doesn't need to prove its worth through acts of vulnerability that leave it exposed and uncertain. This version doesn't need to chase validation, doesn't need to earn affection through moments of fleeting connection. No. This version is whole, untouched by the world's demands, unshaken by the need for external confirmation. And when people meet this version of you, they don't just see you, they see the truth of who they are too. Because when a chosen one becomes whole again, it's not just about them. It's about everyone who encounters them being reminded of their own wholeness. You become a walking reminder. It's possible to be at peace. It's possible to walk in alignment. It's possible to own your energy, to stand tall without shrinking, to love without losing yourself in the process. You stand sovereign, and the world shifts when you do. And you start realizing something deeper. The world doesn't know stillness. It thrives on stimulation, on distractions, on noise. But you've found something different. You've discovered that the more you anchor in stillness, the more powerful you become. You've seen the chaos, the chase, the constant need to feel alive through external sources. And you've chosen something else. Not because you're avoiding life, Not because you're running from the world, but because you know that true life begins when the noise stops, when the distractions fade, and you sit in the quiet of your own being, undistracted, unshaken, unmoved by the passing desires. Your presence becomes the new standard, not for attention, not for applause, but for peace. This stillness doesn't make you small. It magnifies everything that's been hidden within you. Your energy doesn't need validation. Your body doesn't need approval. You are the standard now, and everything that comes into your orbit either aligns or fades. You no longer accept anything that doesn't respect your peace. You no longer settle for connection that doesn't resonate at your frequency. You no longer compromise your energy for anything less than what you deserve. Because now you know this is not a season of restriction. It is a season of elevation. This is what happens when you stop. When you stop giving yourself to what isn't meant for you. When you stop accepting less than what you're worth. When you stop ignoring the quiet whispers inside that have been guiding you all along. You rise. Not because you're trying to be seen, but because you found the real you, untouched, unbroken, complete. And when you stand in that truth, you become magnetic. The world begins to shift around you, no longer chasing validation, no longer lost in the noise. You move with clarity. You move with purpose. You move with power. You are not a casualty of the world's distractions anymore. You are the master of your own energy. You are sovereign. And once you stop giving your body to what isn't yours, you stop bleeding and you start building. You start creating. You start thriving. This is what happens when chosen ones stop. They don't just stop doing. They stop losing. And in that moment, they realize they were always meant to be whole. They were always meant to stand. And now they finally do. So, chosen ones, if you're still wondering what happens when you stop, this is it. You don't lose anything. You gain yourself back. You gain the energy you were always meant to hold. You gain the clarity to see what's real and what isn't. You gain the peace that comes from knowing your worth doesn't need to be proven. This isn't about abstaining for the sake of a rule. This is about remembering who you are and claiming the space you were always meant to occupy. As you stand in that power, remember, you're not waiting for permission. You're walking in the authority that's always been inside you. So keep walking. Keep reclaiming, because the more you stand in your truth, the more you will see the world begin to shift in alignment with you. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You just need to be. And as you become the fullest expression of yourself, the universe will bow to your energy. That's what happens when a chosen one stops. They stop losing and start rising. If this message speaks to you, let us know in the comments and like this video to help spread the word. Your participation not only supports the message, but strengthens this community of chosen souls, united in purpose and light. Thank you for watching until the end. Your journey is meaningful, and your light is needed in this world. If you have not yet subscribed to Secrets of the Bible, join us for more content on spirituality and personal evolution. We're on our way to 50,000 followers, and we'd love for you to be a part of this growing movement. Until next time, remember, you are a masterpiece in progress. Whole, yet always growing. Complete, yet still evolving.